All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the State Expedited Accusations calendar in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia. I'm Judge Melanie Williams, and today is January the 23rd of 2025. All defendants, please be advised you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney at this proceeding today. Please be advised that this particular proceeding is being recorded and it is being broadcast as a live stream. That means any member of the public can log on and watch. All members of the public, you must be in a secure and quiet location. If you are driving or out of the store or something is not appropriate for court, you will be removed from the Zoom proceeding. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset for the notice. Those who receive surety or cash bonds will be going to our state all-purpose calendar, whereby aspects of the case, including bond or other conditions, may be revisited. That date is February the 6th of 2025. All right. Have all defense attorneys had the opportunity to interview their clients?
Your Honor, there is a Jabari Watkins. This is Mike McLean. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
There is a Jabari Watkins who I need to interview. He had been in Alpharetta, transported to Rice Street, and we haven't seen him yet because
So
he was
they
Mr. Watkins.
They're on
He's
the way
not-
to intake to pick him up now. He's en route to the courtroom. So stand
All
by.
right. Can we do position 14 first, the private attorney?
Well, I don't know who that.
Julia Katowski, is she present?
Yes, she's here.
Can we do that case first?
Sure.
Tom Nagel on her behalf. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Good afternoon. All right, Ms. Katowski, your case is 25 CR 000377G. In this case, you're charged with 2 counts of battery. Do you understand your rights today as I just explained them?
Yes.
Is that a yes? All right. This is her first arrest, so we'll go straight to the state. Ms. Mokake, is this your case?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes, this is my case.
All right, please proceed.
This incident happened in August of 2024. I have that the incident location is 1005 Washington Heights Terrace in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Daniel Akers. The defendant and the victim used to date, and the defendant told the victim to come over to give her her belongings back. The victim went over to the defendant's residence and was sitting on the couch when the defendant approached him and sprayed pepper spray in his face, then began punching and kicking him, causing bruises to his back. In addition to the bruises, officers also noted that the victim had pink spots on his face and also on his neck that looked like the result of burns from the pepper spray. Our office has spoken with Mr. Akers, who said him and the defendant were in what he would define as a situationship. They didn't live together and they have no children. He did confirm the events in the warrant, stated nothing like this had happened between them before. He did state that he has asthma and he could have died as a result of this incident. He hasn't seen or spoken to the defendant since this incident and of course doesn't want any contact. Given that this is her first arrest, the state is okay with her receiving a signature bond. However, no further contact with the victim, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that she undergoes some anger awareness. I would ask the court to sound for the victim in this case, Mr. Daniel Akers.
All right, is Mr. Akers present and wishes to make a very brief statement?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you need to turn your camera, raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm testimony you give today be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
All right, this is a bond hearing and the defendant is entitled to a bond today. If you are going to rehash the facts or you disagree with something the state just presented to me, that's not what I'm most interested in. I'm most interested in any concerns you have for your safety. There will be further proceedings where you'll be able to flesh out more of the facts, but this is a bond hearing and that would not be appropriate today. What I'm most concerned with are you concerned for your safety and do you wish to have contact? In light of those instructions, Mr. Akers, what would you like to tell me?
No contact. I think I am safe and I'm not worried about, her coming after me or anything like that. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Akers. I appreciate you coming to court making that statement. Mr. Nagel, do you object to a signature bond through pretrial services and a one-day anchor course?
No, Judge. I believe that would be appropriate based on the charges this time. So we would ask that you do set that signature bond, please.
All right. Defendant will receive a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. That'll be $2,000 on each count of battery. She's to have absolutely no contact with Mr. Akers, whether through social media, text, phone call, none of that. She sees him, she's turning around, walking the other direction. She is to take a 1-day anger awareness course and have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons as a condition. She will be reset further notice as she is receiving a signature bond at level 1 through pretrial. Is there anything additional?
Not from me, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Nagel, does that conclude your business today?
It does, Your Honor.
All right, take care. Best of luck to you and your client. Have a good
Thank you.
afternoon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right.
Position number seven.
All right. Is this Eva Dillon?
Yes.
All right. Your case is 25 CR 00035. I'm sorry, 385A. You're charged with 2-count simple battery family violence. You understand your rights? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. First arrest. So we'll go. Is that yours, Miss Allen?
It is, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to see you. Please proceed.
Based on the fact that this is the defendant's first arrest, we're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, no contact with the victim. Her name is Jada Carney, Carney. Stay away from the location and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Police were called on the 22nd to 1459 Mescaline Street. Both individuals, the defendant and the victim, were on scene. They live together. They're in a relationship. The defendant told the police that the victim didn't want to buy her a vape and that she became angry when the victim locked herself in the bathroom. The defendant admitted kicking the door in to show the victim she cared. The victim, when she spoke to police, corroborated that that's what had just happened and reported that the defendant then pulled her by her hair and struck her once she had broken the door of the bathroom. We did speak to Mrs. Carney. She corroborated that information, that there's been an altercation in the past where police were called, but no arrest was made. She said she's okay with no violent contact, but she's unsure about returning to the residence, Your Honor, just based on the facts. This is a situation where no contact is what's appropriate, and that's what we'll be asking for. If you'd sound for Mrs. Carney. Thank you.
All right. Is Ms. Carney present? Wants to make a brief statement. I don't see anyone with that name. Mr. Rogowski, is this your client?
This is my client, Your Honor.
Any
I
objection to that SOB through pretrial level 1, no contact, and a 1-day anger course?
No objection to that, Your Honor. My concern, however, is the address that was relayed to me by Miss Dillon is on that Mescaline Street address. So I don't know if she does have somewhere else to stay. Miss Dillon, if you could give me a thumbs up, if you could stay with a family member or a parent in the meantime.
The primary leaseholder, I pay all the bills. I don't understand that. But I definitely have somewhere to go.
All right. For the time being, if what we'll do is we'll do a one-time law enforcement escort. If Miss Carney is there, she should stay away. I think there needs to be a little bit more of a cooling off period. If she's not there, she can return to that location. Defendant's going to receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial at level 1. It's $1,500 on each count. She's to have no contact with the alleged victim again. Stay away from that location if the victim resides there. We'll make that determination with LEO. She's to have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and she's going to take the 1-day anger awareness course as well. And again, bond can be addressed and reamended at a later date on motion. All right. Best of luck to you, Ms. Dillon. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position number 8, Evans.
All right. Are you Priscilla Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Evans, your case is 25 CR 00380. J, in this case, you're charged with battery family violence. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Howard?
19 on probation out of Greene County, ag assault, 2024 battery arrest. 2024 parole, 2023 parole, 2023 false report of a crime conviction, 2014 another ag assault conviction, and a 2014 criminal attempt to commit a felony, possession of tools conviction. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mokake, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. And just to add, she also has an aggravated battery conviction that's a little older. It's from 2001, but it does demonstrate that she has a pretty violent history. This incident happened at 1331 Jonesboro Road, Southeast in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Kenneth E. Austin. The parties were having a verbal dispute that turned physical when the defendant bit the victim's hand, leaving bite marks on his hand. The victim told officers that he was in fear for his life after this, and he did flee the location. The parties had been dating for about a year when this incident occurred, and they'd been living together for about a month. Given the defendant's history and the facts of this case, the state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with Kenneth E. Austin. Stay away from that incident location so long as Mr. Austin is living there. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that she also undergo an anger awareness class. I would ask the court to sound for Mr. Austin at this time.
Is Mr. Austin present and wishes to make a brief statement? Okay, I don't see that name. I've sounded twice. Who represents this defendant? Is that you, Mr. McLean? If you're speaking, we're muted. We can't hear you. It's number 8.
I was looking at my stop video. It was on. Thank you, Your Honor. We noted that she had a conflict in her case in October with the public defender's office, and we figured she probably still did. Is Miss Maureen McLeod?
Miss McLeod is not on the line.
I think it would see if she's going to represent her. My understanding was she was going to appear at 2, and I'll give her a call.
Ms. Champion or Mr. McLean, can we see if Ms. McLeod will be logging on? If not, let's hold for this position. I'll make note. So Ms. McCocket, well, you'll probably have to go through it again, though, if Ms. McLeod logs on. Okay, so
Right.
we're going to come back to this position and note it as a conflict. All right, who do we have next? If no conflict, attorney, it can appear today, we'll still set bond.
ACDC can go ahead.
All right, who do we have? Has ACDC heard their rights?
Yes, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. This is going to be position number 3, Ms. Block.
Position 3, Miss Linda Block. Okay, yes. All right, Ms. Block, your case is 25 CR 0000384C. In this case, you're charged with disorderly conduct, false report of a crime, and criminal trespass. You understand your rights today? Is that a yes?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. This is first arrest. So we'll go to you, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Although this is the first time this young woman has been arrested, this is the second time police have been called to the location for a similar incident. The location is 515 Centennial Olympic Park. Police were called there in June. It sounds like this defendant shares a boyfriend with another young woman, the victim in this case, actually, Kamaya Rucker. So in June, police were called to that location where they met with the boyfriend in common, Jakari. The defendant was seen there at the location. She'd pepper sprayed someone, refused to leave, seemed to be having some kind of an episode. And Jakari was reluctant to provide information and said she was going through a lot at that time. Yesterday on the 22nd, Your Honor, at about 11:30 in the morning, the defendant in front of you made a call to 911 and said that there were males outside there with weapons trying to kill her. Obviously, police responded to a weapons call using lots of resources and staff to address a dangerous situation. On scene, they were flagged down by the defendant. They then recognized that the 911 call about a crime being perpetuated on her by men with guns was actually a false report. Police met with off-duty officers who are courtesy officers there at the location. They reported that this defendant has a problem coming to the location and what they termed stalking this gentleman, Jakari. They spoke to the victim in this case specifically, Mrs. Rucker. She reported that the defendant arrived at the location. She heard the window open. She heard a ruckus, and she heard the defendant screaming, "Where's Jakari? Where's that bitch?" And the victim went outside to let the defendant know she needed to leave. She was still on scene when police made contact. There was also a witness present who reported that they knew about the prior incident in July or June, excuse me, and had witnessed the incident today there at the location and watched the defendant open the door, or open a window to the unit there. I think the specific unit is 105. So boyfriend or ex-boyfriend of these two women lives there, and the young woman in front of you evidently wanted to come and confront him about something, but has been to that location on numerous occasions and has been told, I think, not to come back. So in addition to that, she caused a lot of resources to be unavailable to others who might need it because she reported a crime being committed against her that was not true. I've listened to the 911 call, Your Honor, and corroborated the information I just shared with you. On the scene, when police did speak to the defendant, she said she went to the location looking for her boyfriend, Jakari. And she claimed that his girlfriend came outside and threatened to shoot her. None of the other people on scene corroborated that information. And what was actually discovered is that the young woman had called and made a false report of a crime. We spoke to the victim, the other young woman, Mrs. Rucker. We have not spoken to Jakari, although it's clear that he and the defendant are still in communication based on jail calls. And I believe Mrs. Rucker's on the line, Your Honor, on Zoom. But Mrs. Rucker said that she and the defendant did date the same man at a period of time, that the residence is his location. His name is Jakari. She heard something downstairs. She corroborated what happened. She said she heard the defendant yelling, you know, "Where's that bitch?" talking about her and talking about Jakari. She said she actually didn't call the police. It was the defendant who called the police, which is what we now know as well. She also reported about the prior incident, that the door had been busted in June, and the defendant had started pepper spraying individuals, including a child who had to have medical care as a result. So we're asking for a $6,000 surety, Your Honor, no contact whatsoever with either Jakari or Kamaya Rucker. It's Kamiyah. I can get you Jakari's last name. Stay away from that location. I do see an eviction process, maybe even two in place against this defendant for where she lives nearby. Stay away from that location, obviously. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And we'd ask for a social worker visit, Your Honor, or some kind of evaluation. And if you could call for Ms. Rucker.
Okay. I'll look at one thing before I do that. Okay. Ms. Rucker, if you would like to make a brief statement, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be true to the best of your knowledge? You're muted. Please unmute quickly.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. All right. Again, this is a bond hearing. Defendant is entitled to a bond as this is a misdemeanor offense. If you want to add to the facts, that's not what I'm concerned with. I'm most concerned with any concerns for your safety and whether you wish to have contact. What would you like to tell me?
Yes, I'm very concerned for my safety and I want no contact at all.
Okay.
And Your Honor, Mr. Jakari's last name is White, and that is his address, 515 Centennial Olympic Park. Mrs. Rucker, is that where you live as well?
No.
Okay.
All right, I'm sounding for Mr. White. Okay, hearing none. Mr. Rogowski, is this your client?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All right, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Come before you is Miss Blanc. She's 30 years of age. She does have a good address at 555 McAfee Street, and that is apartment 302 in Atlanta, Georgia. Your Honor, she's been residing in the state of Georgia for the past 6 years, so she is most certainly not a flight risk. She is well established here. She also does have good employment. She had formerly been working with the Fulton County or not with the Fulton County Public Defender's Office, Your Honor, but with Fulton County, was a former employee of Fulton County. And she does have a good degree in finance from Florida Memorial Institute in Miami. And she's currently studying for her CFA. So she does have a good amount of education, should be able to stay up on her feet, and should not be a flight risk. Your Honor, we would be asking in this case, given the fact that she has incredibly limited criminal history here. We do understand the facts as they've been relayed by the state, but at the moment, these are still allegations that Ms. Blanc plans on fighting. And with that being said, we would be asking in this case for a signature bond for Ms. Blanc, or in the alternative, if Your Honor is deeming a monetary bond, one not to exceed $3,000 in surety. Thank you.
All right. Defendant is going to receive a split bond. As to count one, the disorderly conduct, it'll be a $1,500 surety bond. As to false report of a crime, that'll be a $500 surety bond. And as to the criminal trespass, it's a $500 signature bond through the jail for a total of, what is that, $2,500 total? But she needs to make bond on $2,000. She's to stay away from that location, have no contact with either of the alleged victims in this case, have no alcohol, no drugs or weapons. And because of the 2,000 in surety, she's going to all purpose on the 6th, whereby aspects of the case can be revisited if necessary. Is there anything additional? All right, hearing none. Best of luck to you, Ms. Blanc. What do we have next?
Thank you, Judge.
Take care.
Position number 1.
All right. Please pronounce your last name for me.
Adepoju.
Mr. Adepoju, your case is 25 CR 00387Y. In this case, you are charged with battery. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is first arrest as well, so we'll go to Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from yesterday, the 22nd of January at about 9:30 in the morning. Police were called to 923 Peachtree Dunwoody Road. That's the address of the victim. His name is Kenny Bamigbola. I'm going to spell it for you. Bamigbola. He reports that he and the defendant share a family member who recently passed away. So the defendant lost a sister recently, and that sister had been married to the victim, Kenny. So police responded to that location when a call was made about an altercation and an injured person. On scene, they met with the victim. He reported that 2 weeks prior, his wife had passed away, that his family, who is associated with his wife, including her brother, had come to the location to talk to him and make arrangements for her funeral. While there was an altercation, and the defendant in front of you picked up the vacuum cleaner and used a part of it to strike the victim in the head. He had an obvious laceration to his head. We have spoken to the victim today. He said that ever since his wife has passed, there have been some issues with the family, that the brother, the defendant, came along with the parents of his deceased wife unannounced, and refused to leave when he asked them to leave. He reported that they also broke some of his things, but at this point, all we have are warrants, Your Honor. He also reported that he has been treated for a concussion. So when we get medical documentation about that, there may be other charges. Mr. I'm going to try it again. Bamigbola, I believe, is on the Zoom. We spoke to him today. He's asking for a stay away and no contact. We'd ask for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, no contact, and a stay away from that location. Again, that's 923 Peachtree Dunwoody Road. And if you'd sound for the victim.
Okay. Is Mr. Bamimbola, I'm sorry if I'm saying it incorrectly, present and wishes to make a brief statement? If so, please unmute, raise your right hand. Statements are not required, however.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm available.
All right, we need to turn your camera on, raise your right hand.
Yes, my camera is on, please.
The camera is not on. Is this person's at Samsung driving? Remember, you cannot be driving while in court. You will be removed. Sir, so we still cannot see your video.
Yes, I'm trying to do that. Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can hear you, but we have to be able to see you.
I have no idea why I'm unable to have the camera. It's unmuted, but I have no idea where I cannot select the camera.
You have to figure it out if you'd like to make a statement today,
Yes, I'd like to make a statement.
but you need to figure out the camera. Ms. McLeod, I see you online. Can you give the jail a call to speak to the young lady waiting to speak to you?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have already spoken with Ms. Evans.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you need to log off and then come back on with a different device. All
Yes,
right.
I'll do that, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Rogalski.
Yes, Your Honor. Come before you is Mr. Adepoju. He is 42 years of age. He does have a good address, and that's going to be at 2200 Duluth Highway, apartment 4112. Your Honor, he's been living here since 2011, so he has sufficient community ties in the Atlanta area here. His parents, his wife, his children all do live here as well. He has two kids, ages 7 and 8 years old. Additionally, he also has a third one on the way and is expected in 5 weeks. So he is about to become a father for the third time here. He does have good employment. He's a principal trainer and analyst for ENR Systems, has been working with them for the past 11 years. And he does also travel. So we would ask for an allowance to travel out of state. That is a requirement of his employment. He does have multiple degrees. He has one in zoology, as well as a degree in computer science. And Your Honor, he also is about to start for a master's program as well at Georgia State to do a master's with information systems. So, Your Honor, given that, we would ask, because he is not a flight risk, as well as his indigent status, we would be asking Mr. Adepoju receive a signature bond so he can continue on with his regular life here, taking care of his family. As you had already heard, he's experienced a number of great tragedies in his family recently. I know that this is most certainly not making anything easier for him, but what I will say is that he is most certainly deserving of a signature bond, and he has been a great candidate to return. So we would be requesting that at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Bamimbola, I can see you now. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear on the firm testimony gives the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right. What I'm most concerned with are concerns for your safety and desire for contact. What would you like to tell me?
Yeah, I would like absolutely no contact. I'm actually in the process of getting a protection order against the gentleman and also his family. My wife's burial is in a week, and they have shown both himself, his brothers, and the family to be very violent and very disruptive. I would like to have absolutely no contact with them, and I'm in the process of getting the protection order against them as well.
All right. I appreciate you coming to court and making that statement.
I would also like to correct the address. The address is slightly wrong. It's apartment 923.
No, don't. If you can help, I'd like your address not to be on the record.
Yes,
Is there
ma'am.
a victim advocate on the line that he could chat the address to? So someone's going to send you a
Yes,
message.
Your Honor.
Thank you. Just chat that address back, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay, defendant is going to receive a $3,000 signature bond at level 1 through pretrial services. He's going to take the 1-day anger awareness course. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from that location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and he will be reset for the notice as he is receiving the signature bond through pretrial services. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to all parties concerned.
There you go. Thank you, Your Honor.
Who do we have next?
We can go back to position number 8, Ms. Evans.
Okay, I've heard the facts as alleged. Ms. McLeod has not though, so Ms. McCockey, if you give us a brief summation, it is, oh, and we do need the history again. Mr. Howard, can you give us Ms. Evans' history?
19 on probation out of Greene County, ag assault. 2024 battery arrest. 2023 and 2024 parole. 2023 false report of a crime conviction. 18 criminal attempt to commit a felony. Possession of tools for the commission of a crime conviction.
Thank you. Ms. McCockey?
Yes, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Kenneth E. Austin. The parties had been dating for about a year and living together for about a month when this incident occurred. They were having a verbal dispute that turned physical when the defendant bit the victim's hand, leaving bite marks. The victim did tell officers that he was afraid for his life and fled the location after this. The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond that is based on the defendant's history. No further contact with Kenneth E. Austin. Stay away from that incident location so long as Mr. Austin lives there. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that she undergo an anger awareness class.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 43 years old. She tells me that she and the alleged victim have been in a relationship for some time and that they live together. She tells me that both their names are on the lease at the residence where she lives. She has asked me to petition the court for signature bond for her. I understand that she has some history, but she says otherwise she will not be able to get out because she's not in a position to pay for a bond. She does tell me, Your Honor, that if the court says that she cannot have any further contact with the alleged victim, that she does have some place else where she can go. But she needs to get out of jail, she tells me, because otherwise she will lose everything if she stays in jail. She would also like to have a one-time police escort back to the location if the court says that she cannot reside there any longer. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Defendant is going to receive $1,000 surety bond. She's to have no contact with the alleged victim, stay away from that location. She can return one time with a member of law enforcement, and she's to have no alcohol, drugs, weapons. She will be reset to all purpose on the 6th, whereby bond conditions can be revisited. Is there anything additional?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Evans, best of luck to you. Ms. McLeod, does that conclude your business today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Before we let Ms. McLeod go, is there anyone else who might need a conflict attorney that we are aware of, Mr. McLean? Or Mr. Rogowski?
No.
At
Okay,
this time, Your Honor, I don't believe so.
all right, just wanted to make sure. Thank you, Ms. McLeod, for stepping
You're
in.
welcome.
Take care. Have a good afternoon.
You too,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Who do we have next?
Number 4, Butler.
All right, good afternoon. Are you Jacobus Butler?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case is 25 CR 000-383Y. In this case, your charge is simple battery, family violence, and reckless conduct. Do you understand your rights today? Is that a yes? You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Howard?
15 open battery out of the cab. 2024 FTA, 2023 FTA, 2021 disorderly conduct conviction, 2021 arrest related to a CWAC charge, 2017 probation. I think the CWAC charge originated from 2012 in another state. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant also has a NOLO conviction or plea for battery family violence out of this jurisdiction in a 21 CR case. This is an incident from the 15th of January. The location is 2210 Sullivan Road in College Park. It's actually at a bus stop out in public. The police responded to the location because the 911 caller was actually a witness, the driver of a bus. On scene, police spoke to that driver as well as another MARTA employee who reported seeing the defendant punching repeatedly and kicking the victim, Jocelyn Harris. On scene, they spoke, the police officers did, to Jocelyn Harris. She reported that during an argument with a defendant who she shares a child with, she wanted to catch the bus. 3 buses came. He prevented her from getting on those buses. He snatched the stroller from her with the baby that she had with her, initials EM, in that stroller. This was witnessed by the bus driver, and the stroller and the altercation actually took place in the street. The victim reported that the defendant grabbed her, punched her, obstructed her from getting on the bus, and snatched the stroller. The bus driver told police that she initially thought that this was some kind of a playful dispute, then realized it was much more serious. She saw the victim trying to get onto the bus. She opened the doors and then closed them quickly to protect the victim and create a barrier, preventing the defendant from getting in after her. The defendant was screaming at the victim, being very violent. She was trying to defend herself. There were no visible injuries seen on the victim at that time. While police spoke with her on the scene, she received a call from the defendant asking her, "Why are you talking to them folks?" Police then spoke to the defendant. He said that the victim had assaulted him, and claimed that he'd only been pushing her to protect himself, despite the obvious statements from witnesses who are unrelated. This defendant you did hear has an open battery in DeKalb, has a battery family violence out of Fulton County, multiple failure to appears, and is a convicted felon out of the state of Mississippi. I believe his address is a Mississippi address. We tried to get in touch with the victim today, Mrs. Jocelyn Harris. We have not been successful, but we will continue those attempts. If you'd sound for her in case she got one of our messages, Your Honor. We're asking for a $5,000 surety. No contact with Mrs. Harris or her children. Stay away from wherever she may be. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Okay. Is Jocelyn Harris on this Zoom call and wishes to make a statement? Okay, I don't see anyone with that name. Sounding again for Jocelyn Harris. All right, Mr. Rogalski.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Come before you today is Mr. Butler. He is 36 years of age. He does have a good address at 978 Peoples Street, and that's Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, apartment A. He has been residing in Atlanta for the past 6 years or so. He does have family here. His brother stays out in Cobb. Your Honor, he also did just have a child. This child was literally brought home yesterday, was born premature, a baby girl named Chloe. So he is very much looking forward to, that is his first child, becoming a father here, and is very much looking forward to getting out from this so that way he can go and take care of that child. So we would most certainly ask that he is allowed to see that child if released on bond here. Your Honor, he does have a certification. He is certified in heavy equipment operation. So that should be very good towards proving Mr. Butler getting employment here, as well as his GED. So he does have some education as well. Your Honor, today we would be asking, given the circumstances here, we would be asking, because he cannot really afford much for a signature bond, or in the alternative, if Your Honor is not willing to grant that, a surety not to exceed $1,000. Thank you.
And the child he just had is with Ms. Harris?
I do believe so, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. All right. Defendant is going to receive a $4,000 surety bond. It's going to be $3,000 on the simple battery and $1,000 on the reckless conduct. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim. However, I will allow him to coordinate transfer of the child through a third party. He's to stay away from wherever she resides, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons as a condition, and he's being reset to all purpose on the 6th. Is there anything additional?
Your Honor, is the defendant and the victim, Mrs. Harris, are they married?
I'm not unaware. Do you know Mr. Rogalski?
I am unaware as well, Your Honor.
Okay. Does he have any other children with her, or is this the only child they share?
I do believe that this is the only child. I believe that this is his first child in total.
Okay, I'm gonna let it stay as is. I understand your concerns, Miss Allen. All right. Anything additional? Okay, best of luck to Mr. Butler. Who do we have next?
Position number 16, Mr. Watkins.
Mr. Watkins, your case is
Go ahead, I'm ready.
25
Oh, it's on hold.
CRZ. What's happening? Please mute whoever that is. 25 CR 0003272E. In this case, you're charged with giving false information and obstruction. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McLean, have you had the opportunity to interview him?
I have.
All right. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
11. On probation out of Cobb, possession of marijuana. 2024 FTA. 2024 PI conviction. It was an FTA with that arrest as well. 2023 probation. 2022 battery DV conviction. 2017 possession of a firearm by convicted felon or felony first offender conviction. 2017 sale of marijuana obstruction conviction. And a 2016 sale of marijuana conviction. I stopped there.
Okay, thank you. Miss Allen, please. Oh, is it, or is this Ms. McCarthy?
It's mine, Your Honor.
All right, please proceed.
This incident happened at 9995 Old Dogwood Road in Roswell. Officers observed the defendant walking his dog without a leash in the parking lot, which is a violation of the Roswell City Leash Ordinance. Officers asked for the defendant's identifying information in order to issue him a warning, and he gave them the fake name of Andrew Baxter and fake date of birth of May 16th, 2004. As the officer was returning to his patrol car, the defendant fled on foot. The defendant currently has a $2,000 surety bond. We would just ask that the bond remain the same as it is. FTA and the fact that he ran from officers, there is a concern that he may be a flight risk and also that he may not show up to court. Given his history, there is also a concern that he will reoffend. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, my client with high school education is 25 years old. He works landscaping at Cut Buddies. That's the name of his firm. He does live streaming and influencing. He has done paralegal work. Your Honor, this case, even with the arrest history, would of course call for a censure bond. Thank you.
All right, defendant's gonna receive $1,000 surety bond, 500 on each count. And he's had no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and he's going to all purpose on the 6th. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Watkins. What do we have next?
What? Turn your phone. Bring your phone.
Position number.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. Position.
Position number 5, Mr. Court.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Quirk, your case is 25 CR 0038. I'm sorry, 0000381G. In this case, you're charged with possession and use of drug-related objects and criminal trespass. If you understand your rights, please give me a thumbs up. Do you understand your rights? All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
4 total. Resident of Jackson, Mississippi. 2022 trespass, willful. 2015 escape, carjacking, kidnapping, destroying, or injuring licensed communication system, which is out of state. That's it.
Okay. Miss Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and to stay away from the location. We'd also request a social worker visit. On the 22nd of January, police were called to 535 Lee Street Southwest. That's the Texaco station. The defendant had been reported on the property standing in front of the location, and he would not leave after being asked to multiple times by the employees there. He was not a customer. He had not come in and bought anything. When police encountered the defendant and also asked him to leave, he declined that request. He then pulled his glass pipe out of his pocket with a lighter and proceeded to smoke it in front of officers. He was placed under arrest.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rogowski?
Yes, Your Honor. Come before you is Mr. Cork. He is 24 years of age. The address that we have for him is in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's going to be 227 Delaware Avenue. Your Honor, he's only been in town for the past 2 or 3 weeks. We would state here that we would like to stress that these allegations are not violent in nature, which does cut in his favor towards being granted a bond. We do think that that makes him less of a risk to reoffend. We would also state that he does have good work experience. He is not currently working, but he's been working in waste management previous to this, as well as a number of different restaurants, so he can find work. Your Honor, he made it to the 8th grade in school. And again, with Mr. Cork here, these are nonviolent allegations. We would just stress that he doesn't really have anybody to pay his bond. He is indigent. And we would ask that he be allowed to return back to Jackson, Mississippi if left on release here. And we would be asking for a signature bond for that to occur. Thank you.
All right. Defendant's going to receive a $2,000 split bond. It's $1,000 SOB through the jail on the count 1, the possession, and $1,000 surety on the criminal trespass. He's to stay away from that location on Lee Street, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he is going to all purpose on the 6th. Is there anything additional? All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Cork. What do we have next? Oh, if he's saying something, he's muted. I can't hear what he's saying.
Spanish interpreter, they waiting in courtroom 1 if you all ready.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know we had that.
Yes, Your Honor. Position number 2, Mr. Martin Barreto, does require a Spanish interpreter.
Okay,
I
Miss
do.
Chancey's on the line, so we can put her in the breakout.
Perfect.
Miss
Thank
Chancey,
you.
please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm today that you'll make an accurate translation from English to Spanish, Spanish to English to the best of your skills, knowledge, and abilities?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you, Miss Chancey. If we
Yeah.
could place Miss Chancey in the breakout, please. And
Your
if,
Honor, if I also may join that breakout so I
of
can.
course, yes, please. That was my intent. And can we take a case that belongs to Mr. McLean?
We could do number 10, Mr. Hardiman. Come
All
on.
right. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Hardiman. Please come forward. Your case is 25 CR 000-374 Y. In this case, you're charged with using a telephone or communication for harassing purposes and terroristic threats back in 2023. Do you understand, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, can I have the history, please?
14 on probation for harassing phone calls as of July. Appears to have an open stalking case. 2021 terroristic threats that was dismissed. 2020 obstruction conviction. 2016 battery DV no load. A couple of battery DVs that were dismissed from 2014 and 15. Most of the history come out of Clayton County.
Okay. All right, Ms. Mokake?
Yes, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Ms. Tara Caldwell. The defendant is accused of threatening and harassing the victim through the phone and also through social media communications. He sent several threatening messages to her through text and social media, threatening to harm her. In one of the communications, he referenced her residence by asking if she lived there and then told her to come outside. He then sent her a picture after he sent that message, and the picture was of him pointing a pistol at the camera. The defendant was contacting the victim because he said that she had been arguing with his favorite cousin. The victim advised that she doesn't know the defendant and she also doesn't know his cousin. He currently has a $2,000 surety bond. We would just ask that that surety bond remain the same. And based on his history, it seems like he has a pattern of this type of behavior. So there is a concern for the public at large, as well as for the victim. No further contact with the victim, Ms. Tara Caldwell. Our office has reached out, but we have not been able to make contact with her. Stay away from the victim's residence, wherever that may be. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And if he does have any firearms in his possession, as the warrant indicates, he should turn those in immediately.
All right, is
And I
Ms.
would just
Caldwell present and wishes to make a statement? Okay, I don't see anyone with that name. Then sounding again for Ms. Caldwell. Okay, Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Hardiman is 30 years old, graduate of McNair High School. He has those prior arrests. The date of this allegation precedes some remedial efforts by the society, so I would think it would be logical to ask for a signature bond. He is a manager and he's been a manager in business for 5 years, has stable address, emergency numbers, phone numbers, should not be a problem for any further activity, and he'll make court. Thank you.
All right. Defendant's going to receive a $1,500 surety bond, $500 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2. He's to have no contact with Ms. Caldwell, stay away from wherever she resides, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he is being reset to state all purpose on the 6th of February. Is there anything additional?
Nothing.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Hardiman. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Judge Williams, can you repeat the bond amount, please?
1,500 surety.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna do position number 11, Hernandez.
All right, good afternoon. Your case, please come forward. Yes, your case is 25 CR 0000373J. In this case, you're charged with public drunkenness, obstruction, and disorderly conduct. You understand your rights?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Howard.
8, resident of Houston, Texas. 2024 collision involving damage to vehicle. 2022 driving while intoxicated. That one was dismissed. You had a 2012 that was a conviction, and a 2019 vandalized property. That's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mukake.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident location is 2301 Sullivan Road and College Park, which is the Hilton Hotel. The defendant is accused of being drunk and disorderly at the incident location. He touched an unknown female's breast, touched an engineer, and then touched himself inappropriately, and then proceeded to spit. He then told the female front desk employee something sexually inappropriate. Officers were advised that the defendant had consumed several shots and also a lot of wine. Officers arrived at his room and they did attempt to detain him. He refused their verbal commands and also refused to put his hands behind his back. And he also refused to walk. He had to be dragged out of his room. The state's recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond that he stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and also no contact with any employees of that Hilton Hotel.
All right, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, Mr. Hernandez is 35 years old. He has an associate's degree in biology. He works in clinical research for a pharma company. Given the nature of this being a situation where he is claimed to have done several things while completely drunk, I would think now while sober, he's not going to have any problems. He's got a stable address, phone numbers. He's not going to miss court. And we would ask for a signature bond, Your Honor, given the charges.
All right. Defendant's going to receive a $1,500 surety bond. That's $500 on each count. He is to stay away from that location on Sullivan Road, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and he is going to the all-purpose calendar on the 6th. Is there anything additional?
Nothing.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Hernandez. Who do we have next? The interpretation case is back. Are we ready to go forward, Mr. Rogalski?
We are, Your Honor.
All right. Give me one moment. We're gonna take a 2-minute break for 1 second. I need to reset something. Yeah. All right, my apologies. What position was this? Position 3?
Your Honor, it's position number 2.
2. I'm having some technical issues with my laptop, so I hope you all do not lose me abruptly. If you do, I will be back on my phone. All right, Mr. Barreto, good afternoon. I'm Judge Melanie Williams, and your case is 25 CR 0000386J.
Buenas tardes, señor Barreto. Yo soy la jueza Melanie Williams y su número de caso es 25 CR 000-386J.
In this case, you are charged with obstruction, public drunkenness, and loitering and prowling with the offense date of January the 22nd of this year.
En este caso, usted está acusado por obstrucción a la autoridad, por ebriedad en público y por vagabundear y haraganear. eh, Eso con el día del incidente siendo el 22 de junio de este año.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el absoluto derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga puede y será utilizado en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney today, and Mr. Rogowski is here to represent you.
Usted tiene el derecho a tener un abogado. Hoy el señor Rogowski está aquí representándolo.
As you can see, I'm conducting this hearing by video. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this.
Como usted puede ver, estoy conduciendo esta audiencia con video y también está siendo grabada, lo que quiere decir que cualquier miembro en el público puede entrar a la plataforma y observar esto.
Do you understand your rights and how I'm conducting this hearing today?
¿Entiende sus derechos y cómo estoy conduciendo esta audiencia hoy?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Can I have the history, Mr. Howard?
Los antecedentes, señor Howard.
2024, driving without a valid license.
Manejar sin licencia en el 2024.
2023, alien inadmissibility. That's all.
Y por inmigrante indocumentado en el 2023. Eso es todo.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Allen, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. 911 call reporting a suspicious person looking into the windows of the apartments at 100 Preakness Drive was received on the 22nd of January.
El 22 de enero se recibió una llamada del 911 denunciando una persona sospechosa mirando a través de las ventanas de los departamentos en el 100 de Preakness Drive.
On scene, police made contact with the defendant who matched the description provided by the caller.
Y en el lugar del incidente, la policía contactó al acusado que combinaba con la descripción provista por el individuo que hizo la llamada.
Although the defendant had slurred speech and smelled strongly of alcohol, he was able to provide his Venezuelan passport to the police, and he claimed that he lived at the location.
Aunque el acusado balbuceaba y olía fuertemente a alcohol, él pudo proveer su pasaporte venezolano al oficial y declaró que él vivía en este lugar.
He's reported as appearing confused and maybe even lost, and he was shoeless.
Él fue denunciado como verse confundido, quizás perdido y no calzaba zapatos.
When police ran his information in the system, his address came back to an apartment complex, not the location, Your Honor.
Cuando la policía buscó la información en el sistema, su dirección regresó con la de un departamento en un complejo que no era el lugar en donde estaban, su señoría.
He was also seen to have a failure to appear warrant for that driving without a license arrest you heard about.
También se ve que tuvo una falta de comparecencia que emitió una orden de arresto debido a el ser arrestado por falta de licencia.
Police went to detain the defendant and he obstructed in multiple ways.
La policía fue a detenerlo y el acusado los obstaculizó en múltiples maneras.
He pulled his arms away, refused to put his hands behind his back, became loud and boisterous and unruly.
Él sacaba sus brazos, él no rechazó poner sus manos detrás de su espalda y hablaba en voz alta y empezó a actuar de manera desordenada.
Once he was put into the police vehicle and transported, he removed his arms from his handcuffs and urinated on himself.
Una vez que se lo puso en el patrullero y fue transportado, él se sacó las esposas de sus manos y orinó y se orinó.
The state's asking for a $3,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons to stay away from that location, and we'd ask for a social worker visit, Your Honor.
La fiscalía está pidiendo por una fianza de $3,000 bajo garantía, que se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas, que se mantenga distanciado del lugar del incidente y pedimos que una trabajadora o trabajador social lo visite, su señoría.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rogalski?
Yes, Your Honor. Come before you is Mr. Barreto. He is 23 years of age.
Estoy aquí con el señor Barreto, que tiene 23 años de edad.
Does have an address at 1712 Saratoga Drive in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Él tiene una dirección en el 1712 Saratoga Drive en Alpharetta, Georgia.
He has been living for the past few months in the Atlanta area.
Él ha vivido por los últimos pocos meses en el área de Atlanta.
And he has been working cleaning houses with stable income doing that job.
Y él ha estado limpiando casas con un ingreso estable haciendo ese trabajo.
He is also a high school graduate.
También se graduó de la escuela secundaria.
At this time, given Mr. Barreto's limited criminal history,
Dado al tener pocos antecedentes penales, el señor Barreto,
we would be requesting a signature bond.
solicitamos una fianza bajo firma,
as his indigent status would make him unable to pay any monetary amount.
debido a que su estado indigente financiero lo haría incapaz de pagar una cantidad de dinero.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, defendant is going to receive a $75 cash bond, $25 on each count. He's to stay away from that location, have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Because it's a cash bond, he's going to all purpose.
Muy bien, el acusado va a recibir una fianza en efectivo de $75. Eso sería $25 por cada cargo. Él debe mantenerse distanciado del lugar del incidente. Se prohíbe el uso de alcohol o drogas y armas debido a que es una fianza en efectivo. Él va a cumplir este propósito.
Is there anything additional?
¿Hay algo más?
All right, hearing none. Best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case.
Muy bien. Al no escuchar nada, mucha suerte, señor. Esto concluye por hoy su caso.
All right. Ms. Chancey, will you sound to see if anyone else needs your assistance before you go?
Yes, Your Honor. ¿Hay alguien que necesite un intérprete en español para hablar con la señora jueza? Por favor, prenda su cámara y micrófono y avísenos.
Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Chancey. Take care. Have a good
You're
afternoon.
welcome, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, who do we have next?
Number 6.
Okay, Mr. Coyle, your case is 25 CR 0003788H. In this case, you're charged with simple battery, hindering someone who's trying to make an emergency call, and criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Second, 03 robbery conviction.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from yesterday, the 22nd of January. Police were called to the location. One second. Let me pull that up. So the backstory here, Your Honor, is that police had been to the location multiple times on the same day. This last time was about 2:30 in the afternoon. The police documents note that they'd been there at 6 a.m. and at 8 a.m. The defendant had been told to leave and not to return. This is a South Fulton case, Your Honor. So on scene the third time, police met with the victim, who is the wife, separated, estranged wife of the defendant. Her name is Kiara Coyle, Kiara. She reported that the defendant was trying to take her phone away from her to prevent her from calling 911. He was grabbing at her, and then he grabbed her physically and pushed her head into the wall multiple times, causing her to strike her head. She reported that he then took the phone of one of her children because she asked that child to call 911. The child's initials are AC. She reports that they've got 4 children together, actually. The defendant took the child's phone, and the victim, reports that she ran to the defendant's car to try to use his phone to call for help, at which point he then got into his vehicle and threatened her, saying that he was going to drive off and drag her behind him. All children were present, Your Honor. There were no obvious visible injuries to the victim at this time. We spoke to the victim, Mrs. Coyle, and I think she's joined us on the Zoom. She reports that they are estranged in the process of getting a divorce and that her boyfriend was present. The defendant showed up unannounced, and she reports that he actually punched her in the face. She did report that there'd been multiple times the police had been to the location in the same day. Ultimately, the defendant had been told to leave and not return. He had taken some of his belongings and in the process damaged some of hers. When he did return to the residence, this is when he assaulted her. He grabbed her by the neck as well, she reports. We'd asked for a $3,000 SOB through pretrial, Your Honor. He does have that conviction, but it is from 2003. No contact and to stay away from the location. And let me make sure I pull that up correctly. And if you would sound for the victim, we'd ask for no contact until there's an order of the Superior Court, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Quill, I see you online. If you wish to make a statement, please turn on your camera, raise your right hand. You're not required to do so. But if you wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity.
It's 2560 Fox Lair, Foxlair Trail. And that's College Park.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's also South Fulton.
Okay. All right, having sounded for Ms. Coyle, Mr. Rogowski.
Yes, Your Honor. Come before you is Mr. Coyle. He is 38 years of age. His address was that 2560 Foxlair Trail address in College Park. He also does have an alternative address, however, if Your Honor is inclined for release here. He does have an address at 164 Darby Runs Court, and that's in Huron, Georgia, where he would be residing with his uncle. Your Honor, he's been residing in the state of Georgia for the past 5 years. He is most certainly not a flight risk. He is well established here. He has been working as a contractor as well for the past 6 years. He does have a good amount of family here, as you had heard. I mean, his uncle lives nearby. He does also have 4 children, ages 4, 5, 7, and 8, so all pretty young. He did complete some college. He also did go to technical school and received his CDL, so he does have some certification for good employment past that contractor work. And he is also only 6 months away until he does own the truck that he is going to be continuing doing this contractor work with. So he is most certainly not going anywhere. He's very close. He's been working towards paying off this truck to expand his business for some time now. Your Honor, these at the moment are allegations that Mr. Coyle does plan on fighting. And so we would just ask that they are treated as allegations at the moment, and he does receive a signature bond so he can go out of here, continue being a productive member of society and working, as well as supporting those kids. So thank you, Your Honor.
All right, defendant is gonna receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services at level 2. That's 1,000 on each count. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. Stay away from that incident location. He's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he's also gonna take the 1-day anger awareness course. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Number 12, Mr. Horton.
Mr. Horton, your case is 25 CR 0000375F. Is Mr. Horton coming?
Yes, ma'am, he's on the way.
Okay. And in this case, Mr. Horton, you're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights today? You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
13. 2019 robbery, dead docket. 2018 attempted ag robbery. That was in another state. That was dismissed. 2013 domestic violence conviction. And a 2012 terrorist threats dismissed.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mokake?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is accused of trespassing at the Conley Hills Elementary School located at 2580 DeLoe Drive in East Point while the school was closed. Officers encountered the defendant sitting at a table with his hands raised. He currently has a $600 surety bond. I would ask that that remain the same so that he can get a social worker visit for a BHET. His behavior just seems a bit odd. Stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, I noticed in that dismissed case that he had spent over 1,600 days either in our jail building or on loan out to Grady, ending in 2023. So I looked in his past history as far as Odyssey goes and reached Keith Strozier's law firm, got a couple of family phone numbers and left a couple of messages. What was the date of this offense?
This was 20th.
So
So 3 days ago.
imagine it's not so much bizarre behavior as it was getting out of the cold. It is trespassing, admittedly, and it's illegal, but it's understandable and not bizarre. So we would ask the court to consider a signature bond. I'm trying to get hold of his sister named Cecilia, his mother named Geraldine, a third relative who Mr. Strozier's law office looked in the file and gave me. I think we'll get family involved so that they can make sure he goes to Grady if he needs any thing from Grady at 10 Park Place or anything like that. We would ask for a signature bond.
Okay. Defendant will get a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Stay away from that location. Best of luck to you, Mr. Horton. Don't go back to that school. All right. Who do we have next?
Number 15. So Mr. Horton, is that a $5,000 SOB through the pre-trial?
No, through the jail.
All right, thank you. So we're going to number 15, Mr. Sparks.
Okay, Mr. Sparks, your case is 25 CR 0000379F. In this case, you are charged with criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and giving a false name. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Howard, I don't see. I need to get my sheet. Second arrest. All right, Mr. Howard, will you put the history onto the record for me?
2023 trespass. That was all.
Okay. All right, Ms. Mokake.
The incident location is 3535 Peachtree Road in Atlanta, which is a target. The defendant is accused of trespassing at the location after having been criminally trespassed several times before. He was also escorted off the property by security several times before the incident that led to his arrest. The defendant kept coming back to the property using foul language towards the staff and the general public. He also threatened to harm the asset protection employee, Zachary Rosier. There is video footage that shows the defendant being escorted off the property 3 separate times before the final time that he was arrested. The state's recommendation, given his limited criminal history, is a signature bond. Stay away from that incident location. No further contact with any of the employees at the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay, Mr. McLean, any objection to the signature bond?
No,
Unfortunately, I can't, wait a minute. Does he have a prior criminal history? No. Yes, he does. So I can't give him a signature bond through the jail. Correct, Ms. Howard, 23, criminal trespass.
Yes. I don't know if it's I don't know the disposition though. So
It doesn't matter. If you've been previously, it's bond restricted. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is
He hasn't been convicted for, this is his family.
no,
He hasn't.
no, thank you. Please don't do that. Don't
It's
speak on the record.
pending.
Okay, thank you. I don't know who that was. Please, that was highly inappropriate. Do not do that ever again. Okay, so as it pertains to this case, defendant, on the disorderly conduct, defendant will get $1,000 signature bond through the jail. As it pertains to giving a false name, defendant will receive $1,000 signature bond through the jail. For the criminal trespass, defendant will receive a $5 cash bond. Defendant is to stay away from that target, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Should he not make that cash bond, he'll be reset to state all purpose if he makes it further notice. All right, is there anything additional?
No, Your
No.
Honor.
All right, what is your question very briefly?
So basically, that's not what happened. I'm not even criminal trespass.
No. Don't say anything. You might incriminate yourself. You're getting a $5 bond to get out of jail, okay?
Okay, thank you
You
so
gotta
much.
come up, your family just has to come up with $5. That's it, okay? Best of
Thank
luck to you. All right. Please don't untalk your blessing. Who do we have next?
Position number 9, Mr. Glenn, bond was posted, and position number 13, Mr. McLean should let you guys know what's going on with him.
What's wrong with this? What's happening with 13?
Your Honor, the behavior and situation of Mr. James in the jail is similar, without any action, in a much more passive way. Is similar to what's in the police report. It would be inappropriate to bring him to court. We need to have perhaps a breakout session to discuss any medications. He's not ready for court. We need to
Okay,
reset.
we can go into a breakout really quickly.
Let's
Can I
do
be
that.
placed in a breakout very quickly with Mr. McLean, Ms. Mokake? I'm sure Ms. Allen would like to come, and Mr. Rogowski is free to come as well.
Okay, Judge.
I'm muted. Position 13, Mr. Carrington James is gonna be reset one time till tomorrow. I understand that there may be family members on the line. I'm gonna ask them to place phone numbers in the chat for Mr. McLean so that he can reach out and speak to you. Not the victim, not you, Miss James, but any other family members. If you will put that phone number into the chat, we have some work to do and the case will be taken up tomorrow. I believe otherwise that concludes the entire calendar, Miss James. Someone from the solicitor's office will chat you as well about tomorrow's hearing. Okay, I believe that is the entire calendar. Ms. Champion, will you please review it for me?
Yes, ma'am. Position number one is a $3,000 pre-trial bond, reset further notice. Position number two is going to be a $75 cash bond only, reset to the SAP 26. Position number three is a $2,500 split bond, reset to the SAP 26. Position number four is a $4,000 good bond, reset to the SAP 26. Position number five is a total of a $2,000 split bond, reset SAP 26. Position number six is a total of a $3,000 pre-trial bond, reset further notice. Position number seven is a total of a $3,000 pre-trial bond, reset further notice. Position number eight is a $1,000 good bond, reset SAP 26. Position number nine, reset further notice, defendant was released. Position number 10 is a total of a $1,500 good bond, reset SAP 26. Position number 11 is a total of a $1,500 good bond, reset SAP 26. Position number 12 is a $5,000 sign-up bond through the jail, reset further notice. Position number 13 is going to be reset to tomorrow's C calendar. Position number 14 is a total of a $4,000 pre-trial bond, reset further notice. Position number 15 is a total of a $2,005 split bond, reset SAP 26. Position number 16 is a total of a $1,000 good bond, reset SAP 26. Any questions?
Hey, what was the SOB jail amount for Sparks?
1,000 on each.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Hearing no further comments, changes, corrections, or questions, will be in recess until tomorrow's SDA calendar. I saw two numbers in the chat for you, Mr. McLean. Did you get those before we end the meeting? Because once the meeting's over, those numbers are gone. Okay. I believe I see you writing it down. Mr. McLean, do you have it? He's smiling. I hope that means yes.
We got it all now. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. It's been a pleasure being with you all here today. I've missed doing this calendar. Take care, everyone, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
You as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Solicitor's Office.
All right, bye-bye.
$250.
What